Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and welcome to a special edition of Asian and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And I'm here today to talk to you about Vanishing Sons. This was one of the most epic things I ever saw in the 90s. It was 4 movies made back to back that came out in 1994. And this was part of Universal's action-packed, lineup, a syndicated lineup. Basically, what they would do is they would create a number of movies. Everything from like Knight Rider to Hercules, The Legendary Journeys, to Vanishing Sons, Smokey and the Bandit, and many other more. The most popular ones were Hercules and Vanishing Son, and so as a result, they both got a spun-off television series. And of course, as you know, Hercules went on for like 4 seasons, created Xena, then created Jack of all trades, and Cleopatra 2525, being the most successful. Vanishing Son, however, didn't when it came to TV. It only lasted for 1 season and 13 episodes in 1995. I remember as a kid watching it, and I was so thrilled and happy they continued the story of Jian-Wa. And then I was very confused when the show just stopped airing and stuff. In fact, for many years, it's been on Crackle streaming app, but they finally took it off a few years ago. But you can find this series on YouTube when the person uploaded it. This was a remarkable, amazing saga that was primarily Asian, like with 2 Asian leads and then later a third. And this was very rare in like America and especially the 90s. These movies are so good that they rival that of theatrical movies. In fact, the first 2 feel like theatrical movies, the third feels like a TV movie, and the fourth movie just feels like a TV episode. In fact, the fourth movie feels more like the pilot to a TV show. In the third movie, they started to fumble a little bit, and it didn't have that like really heart, that deep, like emotional heart and soul that the first 2 movies had. But it was still good. Then the fourth movie came around, and honestly, there was no point in making a fourth movie. However, like I said before, these movies were so popular, they busted out a fourth one. But the fourth one is literally just like a clip episode. And it's basically, it only has 5 stars in it. And so, it's basically just Jian-Wa. He's hurt and he's talking to a woman about everything that happened in movies 1 through 3. So it's just a huge recap of those 3 movies and stuff. And it's a really, really, really pointless movie in all honesty. But these movies, man, I'm telling you, these movies was like chock full of raw action, raw emotion, raw racism, raw just drama and stuff. These movies capitalize on what it's like to be an outsider, a foreign person in a different land. These movies capitalize on the racism that they experienced as a result of that. And when I say like these movies are very racist, my God, these movies are extremely racist. Sadly, they do use a lot of different Asian slurs. They use one black slur and but it's just one Asian slur after another because it's the willingness or unwillingness people can't accept a person from another country, and they show the true heart of that and stuff. And it's really heartbreaking. I remember just watching this as like a teenager and stuff. I understood what I saw, but I couldn't believe what I saw. because I didn't know there was such hatred between like white people and like Asian people in general. There's like hatred between the white people and Chinese, white people and Vietnamese, and the Chinese and Vietnamese, and a little bit of black and Chinese and stuff. And I just could not like believe like everything I saw. Now this movie also has a huge star-studded cast. When I say huge, my God, I mean it is huge. Some people, like especially in the second, like in the first and the third one, they pretty much have the same cast. In the fourth one, there's like a huge movie star, and well, two huge. Well, actually, there's three huge ones, three huge movie stars, in that movie. One of them who voiced Superman in the animated movie, and then you have like Matthew Lillard and Dee Wallace and everything. But my God, when you get to the second movie, there is like one huge celebrity after another, and I could not believe it. Now back then, I didn't know who none of those people were, but now I do. And Universal is the one who made these, and honestly, these movies need more praise than what they got back in the day. And it's sad because a lot of people have forgotten these movies. It took me the longest time to even remember what the name of these movies were and stuff because it's just been that long. Russell Wong was the very first international Hong Kong like action star I've ever seen. I've seen him before I ever saw Jackie Chan and Jet Li. This man is the real deal. He can act very good. He can do martial arts. He can do flips and stuff. Like he is the real deal. And I'm surprised he didn't blow up bigger in America and stuff. He kind of disappeared after a while. He mostly does like Chinese movies and stuff. But every once in a while he comes back to America to make an American project. He was in Romeo Must Die with Jet Li. I remember when I saw him, I'm like, oh man, it's Russell Wong. And I was so happy that he got to fight Jet Li in the movie and stuff. And so like, and then he had a show on the WB that was very short lived. Very, very short lived and stuff. And then I think the last project, American project he did was Clifford the Big Red Dog, I believe. When it was just like a voice role. Or maybe it was a live action movie, I'm not really sure. But anyway, that was like the last one he did. And the man still looks the same today. And so like he is the first like main star, and his character is Jian-Wa, and Jian-Wa goes through it in this movie. Jian-Wa is a very, very peaceful man, and he's a violinist, he's a martial artist, but he's also a brother and a son to his father, and he just wants to live in peace and he wants freedom. The problem is everywhere Jian-Wa goes, freedom is taken away from him. And it's crazy to see that because he literally has done nothing wrong. Like when he was in China and stuff like that, he talked about how like this is just like, the other place in China they used to live when the government came in and, and stuff like that. And they wanted their freedom, which forced them to America. And they was illegal in America. And so after that, they got jailed, him and his brother. And then, like, when they got free, they had a hard time adjusting to American lifestyle. They couldn't find jobs. They had like a rundown apartment. They had to eat eggs for like dinner and stuff. And so they went from one job to another. But then, tragedy struck when his brother, who's like the bad seed of the family, kept messing everything up, which caused Jian-Wa to go on his own path. A pursuit of music, but he always was entangled in his brother's misdoings and everything, which caused him to be on the run by the FBI. And all of Jian-Wa's life in America was constantly being on the run from like the American like justice system and stuff. And all that man literally wanted was peace and freedom, and he never truly ever got that. Every time he would find happiness and joy, there's his brother Wago messing everything up. And, but then by the TV series, he's still on the run. And these movies, like I said before, is about two brothers. And then the other brother is Wago. And he is played by, now I can't quite say his name, Shai Mui Lu or something like that. I really don't know how to say his name. I'm so sorry. But he plays Wago. And Wago is a very disturbed man. Wago has been picked on all his life. He's a little bit chubbier than Jian-Wa. He's shorter, and he's super jealous of Jian-Wa. He feels Jian-Wa got the best looks. All the girls just like swarm after him. All the guys want to be his friends while he gets picked on. And because of that, he has a deep hatred for Jian-Wa, but he still loves him as a brother. The thing about Wago is that he will do anything for his friend Lily. Lily is played by that of Vivian Wu. Oh my god, dude. One of the sexiest women in the world. For real, man. Like, oh my god. I remember when I used to see her on screen, I was like, whoa. And stuff. And so he would do anything for her. And she started off as an advocate, a person who would protest the oppression of like what was going on in the Chinese government and stuff. And so as she staged a protest, the Chinese government came in and they got very violent very fast. They were protesting something that happened years ago. I always assumed that it was like fictional because this is a fictional movie and stuff. But when you actually look it up, no, it's just for real. Like that thing that happened years ago really did happen and stuff. And according to we all know nothing about that because we from like a different country and stuff. And so like because of that, Wago decides to help her out while he fights the police. I don't know, they call it police, but they look more like military soldiers. And so this causes Jian-Wa to like help his brother out. Jian-Wa is always jumping from windows, man. And so they beat up on like the military and stuff, or I just say law enforcement. And because of that, they helped bring peace to like those streets for like a short while. What the problem was, since they fought like the police and everything, the Chinese government wasn't gonna let that go. And they arrested many of them and stuff. And it's then and there, John Wall's father tells them that, Wago, you screwed everything up. Like, and like, because they will come looking for you too. And that they have to get out of like, the country and stuff. But the thing is, the father only has enough money to send both his sons to America. He can't come and stuff. But he will try to keep a low profile. Even though the father had nothing to do with it, they will come and get him as well. And so it is because of that that they are forced to flee their country, the only place they've ever known. Jian-Wa knows a bit about America because his violinist teacher is American and lives in China. But Jian-Wa, he struggles. Like his violin instructor tells him, he wants him to live a peaceful lifestyle, while as his martial arts instructor, teaches him the way of like, fighting and stuff. And so, but Jian-Wa wants nothing but peace. And it's like really insane. They have to like come on boat and they've been there for like, many months on a boat, having to hide out down below and underneath fish to where they are caught by immigration and everything. And just the looks on their face, they look so depleted and everything, especially that of Wago. Wago is just kind of like, I screwed up back in China. Now we're about to be arrested and everything. And he has no idea what's in store for him. Wago, because of his jealousy, he wants nothing but the best lifestyle for himself. He doesn't want to be a poor person no more. He wants to succeed. And in America, he thinks he's going to be able to succeed because it's the land of opportunities. But he quickly realizes it's not like that. And even Americans struggle themselves, but especially if you're a foreigner coming to America. And so as a result of that, when they're locked up in prison, they still have to fight. They experience racism for the first time by the hands of the police, calling them all kind of nasty names. Then they experience even more racism when they're locked up behind bars, having to fight their way just, so they don't get like messed with and stuff. This intrigues a man by the name of Fuqua. Fuqua is a half black, half Vietnamese man. And Fuqua, he is played by Marcus Chung, who people know from the first Matrix movie. I think he was Tank, that was his name. And so, like, he tells them, like, man, I like how y'all fight. I can use people like that. And so he tells them, he's about to get out soon, but whenever they do, come meet him at his restaurant and everything. But the thing is, one of the immigration police, he sees a picture of Jian-Wa and Wago from China and stuff, and realize that they're heroes. And so because it's a new day in America with a new president and new immigration laws and this and that, they are set free from like prison and stuff. And it's only there things get worse. Like you think, since they've been released from prison, everything's gonna be like smooth, but it's not, because they have to find a place to live. It's a rundown apartment. I don't even know where they got the money to get the place. They try to look for jobs. Like I said before, like Wago's happy that he has eggs to eat for dinner, because that's all they can like afford and stuff. And so as they're looking for jobs, nobody wants to hire them. But then they find like an opportunity working, cleaning fish and everything. And things only get worse from there. They get swindled by the person who's in charge of that. He loves hiring foreigners so he can pay them little and take all their money. He promises they can keep 90% of their check, but he lies. And he's a huge swindler to the point of Wago just not having this crap. Not only is he not having that, but he can't even get the ladies. There's like a Hispanic lady he likes but can't have. This happens a lot in the movie. Like women are always rejecting him. Like when he went to that one black club, all the black women reject him and stuff. And so he gets pissed and wants to keep his money. This causes like, the swindler to get gangster on him. And his hitmen try to take out Wago and Jian-Wa to the point where Jian-Wa has to like, tell them, like you can just have my paycheck, like the entire thing. And so this causes a huge like ripple between that of Jian-Wa and Wago. Wago, like they go to that dude's restaurant, but Wago's like, I'm not washing dishes and stuff like that. But then it turns out that this dude is actually a gangster. And he works for this Vietnamese, like, gangster known as the General. Now, the actor who plays the General, may he rest in peace. Okay, he has sadly passed away. Also, the actor who played, like, the immigration officer, he has passed as well. And so, like, Fuqua is all like, it's time to make that easy money. But Jian-Wa wants nothing to do with that. He doesn't want to be a gangster. Wago, on the other hand, feels like this is a way for him to get respect. And this is a way for him to get out of, like, the poor system and stuff, which causes a huge fight between Jian-Wa and Wago. Such a huge fight that it goes from inside their apartment out in the hallway into other people's apartment rooms outside where the homeless is at. And it's a huge, huge fight. And it's to the point where Wago tells Jian-Wa, plain and simple, let him be his own man and forge his own path. and just be proud of him. And Jian-Wa is telling him, like, look, man, you're not gonna get nowhere being a gangster. And ever since he came to America, he's been having visions of him holding Wago, a dead Wago. But Wago will not listen, and he goes on his own. And it's hard, cause how does he expect John Wall to like want him to be like a gangster and everything, you know? And cause you know when you're a gangster, either you're gonna like be end up killing a lot of people, get killed yourself, or end up in prison. And this is what starts the like a huge like domino effect for John Wall and all the bad stuff that happens to him. And we even know the meeting of Vanishing Son in the third movie when, John Wall tells Wago that in China his father would have had two sons. But in America, those two sons became vanished and stuff. And literally they vanished from each other's life. And even though, they went on separate paths, you know, like they will still have each other's back because deep down they still love each other. And because their bond as brothers is too strong to break, no matter their differences and their hatred. And, this is what happens throughout the entire saga is that every time something bad happens, one of them will come and save the other person's life. When Jian-Wa went on his own, he decided he's going to take his love of violin music and try to better himself. That part is kind of rushed and stuff like that, but it does happen. He overhears like these people playing and he decides to play as well, to the point where he meets a woman named Claire, played by Rebecca Gayheart. I love her hair. And so he falls in love with her big time. And I mean, he falls head over heels for her and stuff. And so, but she has a fiance and also a best friend. And so, but her fiance does not like John Wall because he can see that John Wall is butting in. But the thing is, John Wall did not know about the fiance because Claire did not let him know. Claire is John Wall's one true love in this entire saga, but even those two are torn apart because of Wago. And John Wall loses everything. He later finds out that his father died because the police end up finding him and murdering him. This brings John Wall and Wago back together so they can do like a burial service. But Wago still goes off into that gangsterist path. And so John Wall is now pursuing music. He's no longer with the swindler, but he ends up whooping the swindler's butt in the hitman because they break his hand and they won't let him go. And so he's late for the recital they're supposed to have, covered in blood in his tuxedo. And Claire and all them never asked, yo, why you got blood on you and stuff. But anyway, there is problem between him and the fiance, but they never fight. Claire ends up leaving the fiance, and her and John Wall end up making love. And this was back when on syndicated TV, boy, they showed a lot and stuff. Well, like I said before, John Wall's happiness never lasts long. They was also told that Lily had died in China. And, she is the person who helped cause them flee China and stuff because of her actions and stuff. And so Wago gets, caught up with some gang wars and stuff because they're fighting now. See, the Vietnamese gang and the Chinese gang are at at war with each other. Wago, of course, is a gangster and he's caught up in it. When John Wall has like a vision, he runs to Wago's side and he rescues him. This is a problem because now he's an accomplice in a gang turf war. And as a result, he writes Claire a letter and is forced to leave her. He doesn't explain exactly what happened, but he writes her this beautiful letter and now he flees Los Angeles and everything. Because the thing is, he's wanted for questioning. And if he gets questioned by the police, and he's already an illegal immigrant and stuff, he'll have to rat out his brother. And he refuses to rat out his brother no matter how many people his brother has killed. And so, like, because of that, he just wanders like America. And it leads him into the second movie all the way down to Louisiana. Which brings us to the second movie. The second movie where Jian-Wa goes all the way down into the South, the deep South, where he experienced racism on a completely different level. And that's one of the things that's the heart of these movies is racism and acceptance and stuff. People just want to be accepted, but there's always people who don't want them there because they look very differently. And there he stumbles upon a group of white men. Now later on we find out these white men, not only are they racist, but they're part of the Klan. Yes, the Klan shows up in this movie in a very terrible way. And so these redneck men, they get kind of weary when they see Jian-Wa, but their leader, Mickey Joe, I could not believe who he was played by. Dean Stockwell, the dude from Quantum Leap, who played the angel type dude or whatever, who sent, the one dude through time. This man's performance was, and I hate having to say this, but phenomenal, because he played a racist, but he did such a good acting job. Also, may he rest in peace because he has passed away. And he was so believable as an old hick racist and stuff. And I was just like, oh my God. And so he stumbles upon him, and then those two, it seems like they bond at first over their love of playing the violin. But then it's quickly realized that, you can tell there's something up with Mickey J by the way he looks at Jian-Wa. He starts speaking Vietnamese to Jian-Wa, thinking, and but Jian-Wa lets him know that he's Chinese. But then it's shocking. If this man's so racist, why in the world does he speak Vietnamese? Well, it's because he was part of the Vietnam War. But why would he actually learn Vietnamese? See, that's the thing. I think back in the day, he secretly was with a woman who was Vietnamese, but it didn't work out. And so he has a son. And his son is Reggie. And when we meet Reggie, who is Reggie played by? I think Reggie is played by, is it James Waters? I kind of got my notes a little confused here. I normally put the person's name next to who they are. So let's just say James Waters for now. And he was best known from 90210. And so when we see Reggie, he is forced to pretend to be racist whenever he sees an Asian person. But secretly deep down, he's not racist. And when him and the old man start to bump heads and everything, played by Kim Chan, may he rest in peace, from Kung Fu Legend Continues. That old man does not take that crap. He wants to just move on by, but he's not gonna go around these people. He's gonna go through them. As old as he is, all his character wants to do is fish, and that's literally it. But the redneck dudes don't want him to fish in their ocean and stuff, because they want it for themselves, and they don't want outsiders from another country in. And so this is when Jian-Wa leaps into action and whoop the redneck dude's butt, breaks one dude's jaw. Now Mickey Joe isn't there yet. He's someplace else. But Reggie sees everything. And Reggie is so impressed by Jian-Wa that he heads to the village or the town where all the Vietnamese people live at. And he wants Jian-Wa to teach him martial arts. Jian-Wa, of course, doesn't want to do it. But Jian-Wa, he sees the best in everybody and he wants to befriend everybody. Plus, he sees that Reggie isn't fully racist. So Reggie could literally be that link between those two groups of like people and stuff. Is very ambitious, and but sadly it does not pay off. Despite Reggie secretly dating a Vietnamese girl by the name of May, and May is played by Ming-Na, and of course she's best known for the Joy Luck Club and also the animated Mulan movie, as well as was she in the Book of Boba Fett? I think she was, and she was also in, I think, Agents of Shield, I believe. She also just now got her very first Hollywood Walk of Fame because she's been in the industry for a very long time, you know. And so like, and I was shocked and surprised to find out that May and Reggie was secretly dating, kind of like a Romeo and Juliet kind of thing. And so like, you know, things really start to heat up. Jian-Wa, when he goes to that village, he befriends all the Vietnamese people and he teaches them martial arts so they can, like, you know, defend themselves against anybody who can like attack them. It's funny, Jian-Wa only uses his feet and his fist. He's very much like Bruce Lee, always throwing like high kicks rather than a bunch of punches. And that's probably because he's about 6 foot tall. And so like, but it's funny, he's always able to whoop people's behind, even when they have a gun. He will literally bring a foot to a gunfight and stuff. But it's there he befriends Hun. And Hun is played by, what's that dude? Oh, Dustin Nguyen or Win. And like this dude, like, you know, he was in VIP. He's currently in the show Warrior, and normally he's in everything he's in. He's a martial artist, but here he doesn't know martial arts. And so like Han, it's interesting because like, it reminds me of something from the first movie. See, he listens to a lot of music, a lot of rock and roll music played by white people, and he loves it to death. But as you can clearly see, like at one point he would say, no matter what, Jian-Wa, like I can listen to their music, but they will never accept me for who I am because I'm different than them. And that is such a sad thing. And because, you know, he loves that type of music and he just wants to bond over that music with like white people, but they won't do it with him. Now, not everybody in that town is racist, but we only see the racist people. And so it reminds me of like the first movie when, you know, Wago was talking about, look at us, Jian-Wa, like, you know, like this yellow skin, these squinty eyes, we're not one of them, Jian-Wa. We will never be accepted by them. But Jian-Wa is the optimistic and the man who believes that one day, you know, people will put down their weapons and have peace and everything. And so Jian-Wa befriends that of his sister, and his sister is Lancy, and she is played by Tomlin. I can't read my own handwriting. I literally said her name in the Highlander, Tomita. That's Tamlin Tomita, and she's Japanese but playing a Vietnamese character. Sadly, that happens in Hollywood, and like she's a really interesting and unique character. Jian-Wa ends up falling in love with her, forgetting all about Claire because he feels like he's not going to see Claire no more. And so, like, she even asks him, do you have a woman? And he tells her, kinda. And she tells him, what if I don't care? I'm like, what? And so why is she so bold like that? Well, throughout all the scenes, you can see there's something up with her neck, but you can't quite tell because her hair always covers it up. Until they have, like, when they first make out, she didn't want to make out with him. It's like, why? Because she didn't care if he had a woman back in his old city. But it's later revealed she feels like she's not pretty enough for a man. And the reason for that, she has a huge scar that goes from her shoulder to her back all the way up to her neck, and it's a burn mark. And but they never explain who caused that burn on her. But Jian-Wa doesn't care and says she's one of the most beautiful women he's ever seen, and then they make love and everything. And so I'm assuming one of the racist people burnt her when they tried to burn down a building and stuff. And I say that because this is what happens in the climax of the entire movie. See, throughout the entire movie, Reggie and Mickey Joe are constantly arguing and stuff because Mickey Joe just wants to be friends with like all the Vietnamese people, but his daddy won't let him. And then his daddy is constantly telling him, we don't mix with them and blah blah blah, and they don't like us and they'll try to kill us if they get the first chance and blah blah blah, and stupid racist crap. And he was shocked to find out that his father is still in the clan, and cause he thought his father had got out. Now his mother had passed away many years ago, and supposedly, I think his mom tried to get with one of like the Vietnamese people, and it didn't work out, and that's what caused his dad to have a more of a hatred towards him and stuff. And so those two are constantly going back and forth. Well, at some point in time, Jian-Wa, he's not going to stop fishing along with Han. Because the thing about Mickey Joe is that he tried to give Jian-Wa a job. And before you find out he's racist, he only hires Vietnamese women and black women. And he's all like, see, I'm not racist. I give them a job and everything. No, see, he gives them a job like that, but he won't give it to a white person because he feels it's above them and everything. And so it turns out that, like, he still caters to Vietnamese people, but when they have to weigh their fish, he skimps them on their pay, at least $8 to $10 and stuff. This is causing Han to be very aggressive. He is starting to be radicalized and turn to the dark side because he is tired of taking this crap. He just wants to be living in a normal life in peace and not having to deal with this racism. But all these racist people are radicalizing him because of what they're doing to him. And it's getting to the point where him and Jian-Wa was on the boat. One of the redneck dudes saw them and shot at them. So Han decided to shoot back and killed this man, making him go to jail. The only person that saw what happened was Jian-Wa and, of course, Reggie. Jian-Wa will not speak to the police because of what happened in Los Angeles. And this pisses off the community because they don't understand. Even pisses off, like, the woman he likes. And so, like, eventually Reggie does do the right thing and tell the truth, what makes him at odds with his people and his father, to where he runs away. But he doesn't go far because, of course, he goes to May and everything. And so at some point in the climax, like I said before, the clan decides to dress up in clan clothes and burn down, like, the part where the Vietnamese people live at. And this is when Mickey, for whatever reason, took off his hood, revealing himself because he didn't know his son saw him. This is what caused his son to be all like, I can't believe you're still like one of those people and stuff. So then they decided that wasn't enough. They need to go back. But the rest of the clan members want to go to nuclear war with them. With Mickey Joe's just kind of like, he's starting to have a weird like turnaround because he's seeing he's losing his son. And he's like, no, we're not there for like the entire people that live there. We're only there for the old man who keeps fishing near our waters, and we're there for Jian-Wa. But the rest of the clan don't want to do that. They want to like take everybody down. So this causes the hugest conflict of them all, where people are like fighting against like the clan and shooting at them and stuff. And it's even to the point where Reggie's getting involved, but he's helping out the Vietnamese people. And this is when Wago shows up to help out. I'll get to Wago a little bit later, but Wago pretty much shows up shooting every like redneck he sees and everything. But still telling Jian-Wa, look man, I ain't staying with you. I'm heading back to my gang lifestyle and stuff. And then he asked him straight up, how did you even find me? And this is the part that don't make no sense. He found him through Claire. Jian-Wa has not spoken to Claire since he left her in the first movie. So I guess it's implied that he wrote her a letter because Jian-Wa also sent a letter to Washington D.C. to be a part of this orchestra type thing, this recital type thing they're having, so he can better his life in violin music and get away of like all this racism and always having to fight people. Because John Wall will fight anybody. He is the type of man who will defend himself against anyone, the police, the military, rednecks, a gang. He don't care who you are. That man just wants to be free. And so I'm assuming he must have sent a letter to Claire also. And so, like, when he did, she knew he was somewhere in Louisiana, but they didn't know exactly where because he doesn't put like a return address. Basically, people's mail just get thumbtacked on like a pole and they just go to it. And so Wago just went down to Louisiana, started asking a bunch of questions, and realized there's only one Chinese person that's living there, and it must be him. So I'll get to Wago, like I said, in a couple minutes later, because he's barely in this movie, but he's still in it. And so you know, the redneck dudes get like arrested and everything. Reggie and May decided they're gonna get married, but they're gonna leave. And since John Wall is like headed out again, because he's not gonna stay there, because he don't want to talk to the police, and he's headed to Washington because he got accepted, they give him a ride to Washington where they're gonna get married. Now, when he was talking to May at one point, she finds out John Wall's Claire is actually white. And she's not too happy about that. Neither is her brother. But they will all reunite again in a television series in one episode where Han and his sister reunite with John Wall. Now, on to what Wago has been doing in this entire movie. Wago just been gangstering it up. Like him and Fuqua. It's weird. Wago is Chinese and he's with the Vietnamese like gang, and they don't really trust or like him that much, except for Fuqua. And they're going up against the Chinese gang, which is weird because Wago is Chinese. You think he will like hang with them, but he doesn't because he met Fuqua first. And so the Chinese gang is like mounting up. They're pissed at the Vietnamese gang. So Wago's giving advice, but you know, we hit them hard and fast. So every time he says that, they hit him first and everything. And they really mess up the Wago's Fuqua's gang organization. So Fuqua takes him to a black club. And in this black club, we meet a couple of black gangsters where they hang out. And like Henry Lenny, he's in this movie. Michelle Hurd, Harvey, or he's from like Man of Steel. He was the general who turned out to be the Martian Manhunter. Michelle Hurd is in Star Trek Picard, and she was in Ash versus the Evil Dead. She plays a bartender, and the other dude plays like a gangster. So he agrees to get some of his gang in on like, you know, to help out Fuqua and everything. Now, while in the club, they tell Wago plain and simple, don't mess with none of these black women. These black gangster men will not like that. Wago, the second he hears that, he starts hitting on every black woman he sees, but they all turn him down, which really pisses him off. And Wago is the type who literally just will not listen to what nobody tells him. He does whatever Wago wants to do, and it always messes things up. But the gangsters only stared him down. And so Wago is just kind of like, why do people not like him? They always like John Wah, and it's because he thinks in his head because he's chubby and everything. He said he used to get picked on. Throughout the entire movie, even though like it's split between John Wah and Wago, John Wah shows up more than Wago, but Wago is dealing with having almost a nervous breakdown. He's not happy. Everybody he knows and loves, his father, Lily, are dead. And he has no idea at this point where John Wah is. And he has lost his brother. He is in a foreign land all by himself. And even though he has friends in the form of a gang, he is lonely. And so he is just like beside himself, constantly getting drunk and everything. And being rejected is not helping. It even gets to the point where him and Fuqua get into it. See, Wago was so drunk, he got pissed and then he grabbed Fuqua very strongly. And Fuqua pulled a gun on him and tell him, let me go. And it's to the point where these two finally was about to get into it because before that they had been like best buds and everything. And so he talks to the bartender, which is Michelle Hurd, and he even hits on her, but she don't want him and stuff. But she gives him the advice to find his brother and stuff because, family matters. And that's when he went all the way down to Louisiana. Well, when he gets back, he's talking to both the heads of the gang organization, and he starts to find out. He finally gets some women that he can have. Why? Because the black gangster dude, he knocked down a couple of the Chinese gangster dude and took their women. See, they imported Chinese women in from China and made them into prostitutes. And so he basically has a buffet of women for like Wago. But Wago is very shocked and surprised when one of them turns around and it's Lily from the first movie. Now, he's been hallucinating Lily for the longest time in this movie. But, because he misses her and he's always been in love with her. But it's really Lily in the flesh and blood. And this is insane. Like, because he thought she was dead when she got taken by the police and stuff. So going into the third movie has more to do with Wago than it does Jian-Wa, but Jian-Wa is still a big part of it. There's less martial arts fighting, and this is the first movie that felt, it was basically just a gangster movie, and that's it. And all the racism was gone, and it's basically just like, well, there's still a little racism, but not as much as before. But it's mostly just a gangster movie. But the gangster aspect doesn't really pay off. It's mostly just heavy dialogue, and you never really get to see the two gangs going head to head like you would in like another movie and stuff, or like the other two. And so like it's just heavy dialogue in this movie with little action and not that much heart and soul. And basically just Wago. Well, it's weird because in this movie, he is now the new leader of the gang. Fuqua has been killed off screen. Why didn't the actor Marcus reprise his role as Fuqua? Who knows? He's probably filming something else, most likely. And so because of that, it kind of takes away because you don't get to see Fuqua in this movie getting taken out. It just happens off screen and you see a lifeless body that's not his, the actor's. And so now Wago is now the top dog, and it's something he's always wanted to be. He finally feels like he has respect, and now he has his woman by his side. But Lily, how is she alive? Well, like I said before, she was imported in and made to be a prostitute. And it's really sad when you feel, when you hear what she has to go through. Her foot is burnt on like the side because they told her because the thing is they torture people and then they kill them. And she said like they gave her the option but nobody else. And she chose her feet because she didn't want no other part of her to be like scorned and everything. And she was like, she was tortured back when she was in China in that prison cell. And she was made to like, she had to like advance herself to get out when somebody took a liking to her. And so she had to like, do them and everything. And then that person who was like a gangster or whatever, or somebody, I forget who exactly it was, who got her out of prison, and she had to be basically his love slave and everything. He sold her to the gang in America, and that's when she had to be like a prostitute and stuff. And it's really sad to hear that because when you see her in the first movie, she was an activist. She was like a nice person and stuff. And she was protesting, and that's what got her locked up. And to know her life has ended up like this is like terrible. But we quickly start to see a shift in tone in her, especially when Jian-Wa shows up. But it was kind of off, but even before he shows up, it was weird because She's a person who wanted peaceful protest back in China, but then she comes to America, and after all the bad stuff she does, she later joins the gang alongside Wago. And it's kind of like, why would you join a gang for when you weren't like that back home? But anyways, um, so Wago is now at the head, and Jian-Wa, he heads to Washington, D.C., where he performs. And it's there he is reunited with Claire. She is shocked to see him, but they just take off where they left off. And it's just like, dude, he's been gone for months and he left you, and he left you with a Dear John letter. How can you just fall back in his arms and make love to him again? And stuff. Well, since John Wall's now back in America and stuff, of course, the police are looking for him. Well, actually, he's been in America. I mean, back in Los Angeles, so they're back looking for him. And so the immigration officer, who I believe is played by Paul Butler, may he rest in peace. And he tells him he knows that John had like a American girlfriend and stuff. So they look for her place, and that's where they find Jian-Wa. Jian-Wa tries to fight himself out of it, but can't. And so like now he gets sent to prison. But you know, while in prison, they make him an offer. Look, man, you help us take down Wago's gang and you know the other gang and everything, and we'll let both you and Wago just walk free. And that seems kind of fishy, and it is, because they betray him. So Jian-Wa ends up working for Wago, and Wago like accepts him and everything. He's like, finally the Chan brothers are back reunited. Of course, Lily is happy to see Jian-Wa, because secretly she likes him and everything, which pisses off that of Wago. But Wago told Lily that Jian-Wa was dead, so that she would never go looking for him. So he literally tells Jian-Wa, like, you know, stay away from Lily and everything, because she's mine. And John lets her know, yo, I don't want her. And Wago just don't believe that. Wago is so paranoid in this movie. So him and Jian-Wa, they're gangsters now, and they need one of those Chinese gang leaders to find out what's going on in that organization. So Wago kidnaps one of those Chinese gang leaders, gang members, but the dude will not tell on his people. He rather just die. This is when he sends Jian-Wa to kill this dude outside. Jian-Wa don't want to do that, and like Jian-Wa always does, he talks peace with this man. And so the man ends up turning on his own people and joining Wago's gang. Now, the police have let Jian-Wa know, leave Claire alone, because you are below your cover and you don't want her to get in harm's way. Well, of course, Jian-Wa is starting to turn into Wago. He ain't gonna listen to that. And he still tries to have a relationship with her. But it gets to the point when he does what the cops say and he doesn't interact with her at all. So time goes by and she's getting pissed because, you know, he has left her again. And so like when he's at the club and he's talking to Lily, and Lily's all up in his face like she wants him, all in front of Wago and everything, in comes Claire. And you think Claire would be pissed. But no, she just goes back and starts making out with Jian-Wa. And it's like, dude, I don't understand the women in this movie. The women in these movies, as gorgeous as they are, they're just made to be objects of affection. They're just there to be girlfriends and there to be hot. They never really have a really strong character arc and stuff like that, which is quite a shame, but this was the 90s after all. And so this pisses off Lily and everything. And this is when we start to see more shift in tone in her personality. And it's to the point where something's up with her, but we don't know exactly what. So she doesn't like the idea Jian-Wa's with a white girl and stuff. And so she's so jealous, she hires a hitman to put a bomb on Claire's car. Well, Claire's best friend is in her car. And when he starts the engine, it blows up and kills him. When Claire is at the funeral, she sees Jian-Wa and she wants nothing to do with him because she knows Jian-Wa has got himself mixed up in some crazy stuff the moment he started hanging out with Wago. And so, like, John Wall tells her everything, but tells her she can't stay here in Los Angeles. So, that one Chinese gang leader that he turned, who he later became friends with, he has him take her to, like, just far away from Los Angeles. And this is the last we see of Claire. She doesn't even show up in the television series. And so Wago at the point of beyond paranormal. Every time he wants to make a move on the Chinese gang, they find out. Which means he has a traitor. And he thinks it's the Chinese dude, but it's not him. It turns out by the FBI who's talking to Jian-Wa that the general who is played, and I can't even say his name, Haing S. I can't say his name, but he has passed away as well in a very tragic way and stuff. And the general is working for the CIA. Basically, the CIA just wants Wago's, like, gang taken down, and the general has immunity along with his woman. And we find out that Lily is secretly the girlfriend of the general and stuff. I think the general might be Chinese. And he's the one who got her out. And so it was a ruse for her. See, that Chinese gang got taken down and the women got taken, and she was part of it for a reason. So she can get in close with Wago and everything. And so, like, Jian-Wa, when he confronts her about this, she's denying that she tried to blow up Claire and everything. Well, when the two gangs are supposed to meet, Wago was gonna snipe them and everything, but everything gets foiled because the police let Jian-Wa know that, look, man, we lied to you and we're taking Wago down. So this is when Jian-Wa lets Wago know it's a setup, and so everybody starts shooting around the two gangs. Then the police comes in. Jian-Wa does his martial arts, but, like, Wago and Lily gets away only for Jian-Wa to stop them and he tells his brother get away from Lily because she's been tainted and everything. She's working with the general and she works for the CIA for immunity and everything. She's trying to deny all of this. Wago don't know what to believe, but then she takes Wago's gun and she pulls it on both him and Jian-Wa. And there she gives her heartfelt plea as to why she's doing all this. They tell her, and it's very emotional too. And you can't help but to feel bad for her, but at the same time, you don't want to because now she's evil. And basically, they let her know that, yo, we're your friends. And she said their friendship died the moment she got arrested. She's pissed at both of them for deserting her. When she got arrested along with everybody else, they fled back to their home, and then their father made them go to America. And she said, like, y'all went to go live this lifestyle while I was tortured and assaulted, like, in prison and everything. And, like, and because of that, she's always wanted revenge on them. And she feels like they abandoned her, but they had no choice because the father would not let them stay there because there's no, like, reasoning with, like, those officers and stuff. And so, like, her and Wago struggle for both guns and it goes off twice. Both of them are shot. And this is now the vision that Jian-Wa has been having since the first movie. Wago is in his arms, dying. And, Wago is just crying as he's dying. And it's now Wago finally sees what Jian-Wa has been saying for the longest time. That, like, he realizes that he is a screw up and everything. And he never wanted this to happen this way. And he apologizes to Jian-Wa and tell him he lied to him. See, when Wago told him to stay away from Lily, he told him that he hates Jian-Wa and that he's not his brother. But he tells him he lied and that he's always been his brother and he will always love him. And this is when Jian-Wa tells, like, I guess it's like a Chinese proverb, probably, or maybe just written for the show, about the vanishing sons and everything. And Wago literally tells him he can see his father along kind of like a cliff, like beachside and everything. Wago passes and everything. Jian-Wa is beside himself. By the time the cops show up, Jian-Wa, even though he knows Lily betrayed them, but he still knows that Wago loved Lily, so he placed both their bodies next to each other, almost in a poetic sense, like a Romeo and Juliet kind of way and everything. They get to die beside each other and everything. And the last shot we see is John Wall just running into the sunset because he knows now, no matter what, he will be a wanted man. If the cops find him, they will automatically lock him up because he's had before interaction with Wago's gang in the first movie. He was wanted for questioning. When they found him and everything in the third movie, they arrested him because they wanted him deported. And now, since he screwed up, like, their investigation, they want his behind. So this movie should have ended right then and there with the third movie, with him running on the run, trying to be free. Because ever since the first movie, John Wall has just wanted to be free. And no matter where he goes, he's unable to be that. But then they made the boneheaded decision to make a fourth movie. And there was no point in making this fourth movie because the third movie could have set up to a TV series, but they wanted something to tie in more closer to that of like the TV series. So what is the fourth movie? Basically, you have Matthew Lillard, who's of course is Shaggy from Scooby-Doo and Stu from like Scream. And you have like this other dude, Marty Valley, I think his name is, or no, a man. It's Marley Valley, I believe. He voiced Superman in one of the animated movies, in The Dark Knight Returns, and so, or Batman Returns, or whatever. No, it's that one Frank Miller story where Batman's really old and he comes back and Superman's working for the government. That one. Basically, they hit John Wall with their car by mistake. It's like I Know What You Did Last Summer type thing. A woman named Megan, played by Dee Wallace, she finds John Wall. He has broken ribs. She falls in love with him, the Nightingale effect, and they tell each other stories of their dark past. It's a recap of everything that happened from movie 1, 2, and 3. And then Megan tells how she had a son and he died. And so she lives out in the wood, in the cabin by herself so she can just paint and write. And she doesn't have a phone because this was the 90s and stuff. And so there's no internet. And so basically the two dudes are all like, yo, man, what if she saw our face? And what if he's not alive? We need to take her out and make sure he's dead. And so Matthew Lillard's Keller don't want to do that. And so, but they do it anyway. So they go to her cabin and they try to like fight John Wall. But of course, with broken ribs, John Wall is the best warrior there is. And he whoops both their behinds. He has her go to the police while he's back on the run again. And this leads into the TV series. And there's no Claire, and him and Megan make out and do it, which is weird because in real life they're like 15 years apart. Now I can't talk. Dee Wallace, she is best known for a bunch of horror movies in like the 80s and in the olden days. And also she was the grandma in Just Add Magic, which is on Amazon Prime. So there really was no point in this fourth movie. And in my opinion, it just wasn't good whatsoever. What's the point of having a clip episode, And it had no heart. It had no meaning. It was just there for just because the movies were so popular. Then it went into the television series. Oh, I forgot to mention, the dumbest thing about the fourth movie is that they brought Wago back, but as a ghost who is stuck in purgatory. I'm not joking. He's a literal ghost that only John Wall can see. And he helps John Wall out like whenever there's danger and stuff like that. Then in the television series, he still talks to John Wall, and John Wall has this ability that when he meditates, he glows. I don't get it. I don't remember nothing about the television series, but I do plan on rewatching it. Basically, it's just Jian-Wa wandering around America, and it's the 90s cliche model of him walking into like a new city and helping the people out any way he can. This is very 90s. They do that a lot. Hercules, Xena, the show 2, the show Nowhere Man. It's always the protagonist who's like, they might have like a dark past, and so they go into town saving people and make the police should think that, hey, they're not bad people. But of course, they don't want to believe that and this and that. And actually, I think, wait, Mandy Valley, no, wait. I don't know, there's a woman in here who passed away as well in the television series. So I forget the dude's name who plays Superman, but it's not really important because he's barely in the movie. But yeah, this is the saga of like, the Vanishing Son saga. The television show was more lighthearted than well, not lighthearted, but more lighter in tone than it was darker in the movies. But these were excellent movies in my opinion, and they rivaled that of theatrical movies. And I wish he was out on DVD. I think I've seen bootleg copies on VHS, I believe, but I would love to own this on DVD. But you can watch it on YouTube because somebody uploaded it and stuff. And these are amazing movies. Like, if you've never seen these, you are missing out. Happy Asian and Pacific Islander month, everybody. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.